Well, guys, thank you so much for the opportunity of having us here. I'm a real estate agent myself. When I joined my first company 8 years ago, all they teach me was how to work with buyers and sellers and what to say and how to say it. So we get close-minded that that's the only way to get business, but there's so many other avenues in real estate that you can get business from, and this is one of them. The ones I discovered working with Home Venture, it has made me a lot of money, and that collaboration is been amazing. Wanted to acknowledge the leadership, because not every company, not every leader allows to bring something like that to you guys. Shows a lot of value in the type of leadership that you guys have. On-market deals, MLS. Rehab deals that we found on the MLS where the listing agent kept 100% of the commission. We're not interested on whatever commission you locked in from the seller. These are real properties that they flipped. For example, that was one of the last ones that we flipped. It was in Hollywood. We got it from an agent. The agent kept 100% of the commission, whatever that is. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%. Look at the difference in the pictures. They don't cut corners when it comes down to flipping. Keep yourself on the left side. These are the type of properties, yes. Most of them were found on the MLS, and we deal with agents directly. But keep an eye on the picture on the left so you can see how the properties look before. Because whenever you're looking for properties, I want you to have an idea of when you come across any of these listings, either door knocking, going on a listing appointment, if you see similarities, that's how you identify investment deals. It's a big difference. Some people like it, but we can agree that it's old. That's Barbie's house, I imagine, you know. I know that, you know, your daughter can appreciate that color, but it's very specific and it's outdated.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So properties like this that you gauging on MLS, obviously I know for the listing agent, they can get both sides, so they excited. But like far as the price point, are y'all offering at accent? Y'all coming close to accent, or y'all staying within the budget?
That's a great question. Sometimes we even offer whatever they're asking.
Okay.
But there has to be meat on the bones.
Correct.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. If it's not there, you're gonna get a cash offer regardless.
Right.
You bring the deal and the cash offer is gonna be there, but it has to make sense, yeah.
Correct.
There has to be room. But you'll be surprised. A lot of the times we pay exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, that's what I only want to know. Right?
Yep. And imagine that, being a listing presentation and you ask your seller how much you wanna for your house, this much. And you're looking at the property, it's like, okay, whatever he's telling me, it's because remember something, whatever price they're telling you is based on the condition of the property at that moment.
Correct.
Or financially too, they might be going through a struggle and they need the money fast. But you know that if we come, Home Venture comes and flip it, that's a different value.
Correct.
You know, the after repair value goes up.
Right.
But if you have that knowledge, then you are able to put the deal together. Does that make sense? These are other indicators. When you come across these houses, as soon as you see a tarp on the roof, and specifically it's been there for a little while, that roof is leaking. So that's an indicator that could be a good investment deals. If they have a yard sign, it's because something's going on. Somebody's thinking about selling. For sale by owners, broken windows, tall grass, trash, damaged car in the outside. Those are indicators. These could be investment deals, and most likely are going to be investment deals that are going to be purchased cash and remodeled. The question is, are you the one bringing the buyer? Investment deals. Did you know that most of the investment deals are actually transacted outside of the MLS? 75% of that. So we're trained to focus on the MLS, right? By connecting with an investment group like us, you're closing that gap. You're getting out of just that source of the MLS. These are a couple of examples with real addresses where the agent got paid the full commission and a couple other benefits that they brought to the buyers. For example, that property that were purchased on Pompano, the agent got paid the full 6% that they locked in from the buyer. Interesting, right? Not only that, we were able to give post-occupancy to the seller. So imagine being that agent. I get paid more and I get extra benefits to my seller. This other property in Oakland Park, the agent locked in a 5.5, they got paid that. We're not interested on negotiating your commission. This other address, 5%. Good so far, right? How to source for deals. Some of you might call expire, Facebooks. You can offer cash to their houses. If you do circle prospecting, the same. You can, instead of saying, hey, I'm just calling the neighborhood to see if you want to sell, hey, I'm calling the neighborhood, buying houses from my investors. Are you interested in a cash offer? You can do that. Networking, if you do that often, you can ask family, friends. You may have people in your circle that wants to sell. Before even thinking about approaching to get the listing, why not like bring a cash offer and make it easier for you and for them? And you can search for deals on the MLS. There's more competition, but you can still get deals from the MLS. Any questions so far?
So I know you breezing through it. You gonna probably get more details about cold calling, right?
Cold calling. What would you like to know about cold calling?
The script.
The script. That's great.
But
I got
you
you.
say-
Who do y'all-
After the presentation, we're gonna send you an email with a lot of tools that you're gonna use, and one of those is a cold call script, a full script proven and developed by us, where you can get deals. That's one thing that we're gonna send you, and you can call sellers
Right.
directly.
I got one request.
Yeah,
At the end, though, please. I want to do a role play.
love it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm down. I'm down. Let's do it. Love it. Love it. So, how to source for deals in the case that you are marketing based? There's two ways to get business in real estate: prospecting, being active and looking for deals; door knocking, cold calling. Right? That one is cheaper, but it takes more of your energy and efforts. Right? But the other one is, well, if you have the means and if you have the money to invest, you can pay, buy leads, invest in sending postcards, paying for marketing on social media, right? You can do those things. That's more like a passive way where the business comes to you. So if that's you and you invest, you can still look for investment deals that way. For example, postcards, you can incorporate the verbiage saying we buy houses cash or ask about our cash offer program. No difference in what you're doing. You're still putting your picture, you're still putting your contact information, you're still going for that listing. Adding that verbiage, sometimes sellers, whenever they're ready to sell their house, the first thing that they think is like, I want to sell it for cash. Everybody wants cash, right? So just by having that, trust me, and I implemented it myself, I got so many leads. Hey, so what is this cash program that you have, right? Because they want something easier. If it doesn't work out, you still have a lead where you can approach them to try to list the property. You win either way. But the only reason they call you, it's because you mentioned there that you can pay cash for them.
I have a question.
Yes, go for it. I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Training, but what is your approach as far as, you know, because I know you're a realtor, but do you always approach them as a realtor, or do you just,
That's
don't
a
even mention your
great
license?
question.
Are you just an investor? You have a team of investors?
That's
Are you
a
a realtor
great
with a team
question.
of investors behind you because you have talent, you have your...
Whenever you go to that listing appointment, I want you to think that you have two hats. You have the realtor hat and you have the investor hat, right? Now it's on you after you get trained today and after all of these to have the discernment on where to start the conversation. That's why I'm giving you the tools and the indicators so you know when to wear that hat. If you know that the house is worth 400 and they want 400 and you might see like, oh, this is very good investment deal, I don't want you to lose the listing.
Right.
Bring it to us. We run the numbers. We're gonna give you a cash offer and you can have it there. But whenever you find that it's ideal within the conversation, it's like, look, I know that you want 400, but I found that the house like this, and this, and it's not financiable. I have investors willing to pay you this much. Yeah, so you have the option of listing the property with me or selling it to my investors. Either way, it's fine. Whatever is comfortable for you, I'll support you 100%. Because you only wearing the realtor hat, you list the property. Obviously, it's overpriced. It doesn't sell because of the condition. It expires, and then an investor comes to them directly and offer the money.
Right.
And then you lost that deal. You lost that time and you lost the deal completely. But again, having that second hat allows you to bring that solution and get paid and not lose the opportunity.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when cold calling and you get the rebuttal, oh, cash, once they hear cash deals, you're going to be like, oh, you're going to lowball me. What's your rebuttal for that?
That's awesome.
Because that's what I get a lot when I cold call and mention a cash offer. I don't want a lowball offer. So what do you say?
Remember the two hats. Look, I'm a real estate agent myself. I can get you top dollar by putting it on the market if you want, procure a buyer for it. Now, I just want to give you the second option. And whatever you choose, I'm going to support you 100%. So the right question is, how much do you want?
Yeah. Okay.
And they're going to give you a number, right? Then you know which hat where, depending on that number. If the number is closer to market value or more than market value, then just throw the investor hat. Focus on that list. You don't know the amount of deals that I ended up listing and securing the listing just by then calling me, I want a cash offer. And even that, they tell me that, but not a lowball. Okay, perfect. How much do you want? And I'll see how much I can get you. They give me the number and it's like, forget it. I'm gonna give them the cash offer, but I'm now wearing my realtor hat. I can even come. Look, the second conversation will be like, hey, Robert, I just got a cash offer from my investor, but to be honest, this is too low. Now you're like on their side, but this is too low. I think as a professional real estate agent, I can get you more money by putting the property on the market. I can give you the cash offer, but I know based on what you told me that this is not what you're looking for.
Got it. So now you like working.
So now that you're the superhero. You're the superhero. So it's about that, and we can role play. at the end, most of these conversations, so you know how to say. Direct mailers like these, you can send it and you can put all the benefits that I'm gonna show you now of what a cash offer can bring. I'm gonna show you one that I use a lot myself. I build my business out of open houses. A lot of you probably do a lot of open houses, right? You know that open houses are about the traffic and whatever the effort that you do outside of that. Door knocking, cold calling, I was doing all of that to create the traffic to the open houses. I was literally door knocking 100 doors the day before and printing flyers like this one and bringing it to their doors. This is the same flyer that I use for my open houses, right? The only difference that I did was to implement this verbiage in it. We buy houses as is cash, call to see if your property qualifies. That little box brought me so many calls. They're not caring about the fact that their neighbor is selling. They want to know how much you're gonna pay for my house, cash. Because a lot of people, when they call you, it's like, do I need to do repairs to the house? I'm already telling them, no, I buy it as is. And again, this is just implementing. And don't be afraid to use the wording, we buy houses cash. Because again, who is we? Us, me and Home Venture that has the capability to buy. So you're gonna have a cash offer. What to do when you get the business, when you find that deal. This is the workflow, this is the process. Find the process by using one or more of the tools that we give you, the indicators. Checklist, for example, that is a tool. Once you know that it meets all the boxes in the checklist, that's the way to pre-qualify them. Once you find that you're like, oh man, I have something good. They say that they want 400, but I know that after repairing the house is worth 550. This is an investment deal. You pre-qualify them, then you got yourselves a lead. Time to get excited because you're gonna get paid more for less hustle. You send it to us and then we gather on the information and we give you a cash offer. Super fast, less than 24 hours. And the reality is in a couple hours. He wants 400. Hey, Eddie, we can actually pay 400. Tell her yes, we're gonna pay 400. And then you go back to your seller, I got you 400, what you wanted. We locked in the deal, we get it under contract, and from there, you can even take a step back and we take over that. Once we have a contract, you're involved as much as you want to be involved.
Like who we got to call to get the info? We calling you? We calling Amy?
We
call when we get something?
That's awesome. Eddie's ready. Eddie's ready.
What we call?
Acquisitions.
Yes.
Okay.
You remember that at the beginning, I asked you guys if any of you have worked with investors before, and if you got paid other than the commission. Some of you said no, not necessarily. Well, they're giving me the listing. Yeah. You get paid an extra $10,000. If we ended up getting that property, whatever commission you locked in, which it will be ideal if you can lock in a commission, you sign the listing agreement, call us, negotiate, I don't know, 4, 5, 6%. You get all of that. And if we buy that property at closing, you get an extra $10,000. Who here would like an extra $10,000?
That's on the back end, right?
Isn't this exciting?
Yeah.
So by doing that, like I'm telling you, no other investor can do that. Why? Because they don't have the capability, they don't have the credibility, they don't have the money, and they don't do the volume to be able to do this. Home Venture is very generous when it comes to agents. Why? We want to build a relationship so we can keep bringing deals. Any questions? Yeah.
So is it a price point or is any price point?
Any price point.
Okay.
Now let me just say this, because you understand
Right.
that it's a case by case too.
Correct.
They have asked the investors a certain amount of money that they want to make per deal.
Correct.
If not, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But once we give you the yes, this is where it's guaranteed.
Okay.
These are some of the benefits that you get by working with us. Compensation. Again, you get an extra $10,000 guaranteed at closing. Credibility. We close again 100% of the deals that we offer. We're not going to tell you one thing with the other. If we're getting under contract and we give you a number, it's guaranteed. We don't play funny games. Flexibility, guys. This is a big one. You're able to give post-occupants to your sellers. We're not a buyer looking to move into the property. My lease is ending. I need the house. We can give you that time. We're not in a rush to close in the house. Branding. Once we flip that property, we give you access so you can do as much branding as you want. You can host open houses in that and treat it like it's your
So we can use the property for content.
content. You can do videos, you can do pictures, you can do open houses.
Like it's yours.
You can
Gotcha.
even show the process before and after, which I recommend, guys. You get access to the property. You know, it's your deal. We're available here to host classes like this. I can jump on a one-on-one call and answer your questions, and you're gonna get better with practice. Any doubt, just call me, send me the address. I'm not gonna tell you just yes or no. I'm gonna tell you the why too, so you can learn why this is not a deal So that way you filter, you do better filters. Now, pay attention to these guys, because so far, I tell you all the benefits of you as an agent by working with us. I'm telling you that I'm paying you $10,000 in stuff, but we're here for our clients to do the best for them. This is the benefit that you can get to your clients, and the difference between putting that property and listing that property on the MLS versus just securing and bringing a cash offer from us. In the MLS, if you are a seasoned agent, you know that you locked in a buyer, it takes anywhere 45 days to 60 days since the time that you sign that listing agreement. You gotta take professional photography, you gotta put it on MLS, you gotta do open houses, find a buyer, 45 to 60 days. From the moment that you walk out of that door, from that listing appointment, and you're like, okay, this is an investment deal, and you've sent it to us, we give you a cash offer, you present it, they say yes, anywhere between 7 to 30 days for closing. Isn't that a big benefit that you can sell to your clients? You get paid faster. And a lot of people, you know that time is of the essence, yes or no? They need to close because they gotta move. So this is a benefit. Showings. On the MLS, you gotta show the property at least 10, 20 times before getting a buyer. With us, we just need access to that property 4 times. To see the property, to do an inspection, to bring in our contractor so they can give us quotes for the renovation, and a final walkthrough. Less headache for your sellers. Contingencies. In a traditional transaction, you know that you have to deal with inspection, appraisal, loan approvals, repairs, and some other stuff just because you're financing. Cash doesn't deal with all of that. All we care about is clean title and an inspection. We don't even care about the cosmetics. You saw the pictures, the before and after. We're gonna remodel the entire thing. But as long as he has a clean title, good on the inspection, we're good to go. And then flexibility, guys, this is a very good selling point. I want to give you pointers so you can take that, and whenever you're out there, you identify better what we look. You mentioned what type of properties. We actually buy from single families, townhouse condos, commercial, multifamily, vacant land. We have bought all of it, right? We buy it out of town, but we focus more on West Palm, Miami, and Broward, right? The ideal purchase price, less than $1 million. Have we purchased higher than that? Yeah, multiple times. But ideally, it's less than $1 million. And we ideally buy directly from the sellers. Clean title, like I mentioned. Can we close on something that has some violation, open permits? We can. We avoid it. It's a case by case. And obviously, below market value. But that's it for me. Remember, what I just share with you is whenever you are looking for properties that you can bring to us for us to buy, right? When you approach sellers, keep all of this in mind and just come to me and I can explain more detail by details, bring the address and you get better. Now, Amy works on this position side. We have an inventory of properties that we sell to investors. Amy's in charge to selling those, and she's gonna show you how you can bring those investors, how to lock in those investors, how to find them, so you can sell those properties and that you're not gonna find sometimes not even on the MLS. Sometimes like you have an investor, find me this property and you're on the MLS, like there's nothing. Well, there's nothing on the MLS. But if I call Amy, it's like she has a full inventory of properties that probably can fit that criteria. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do we look for when we are looking at offers? When you bring a buyer, when you bring an investor to us, we want to teach you what we are looking for in those offers. The thing that's going to get you the best chance of us accepting the deal from you, from your investor, because we want to get you paid. We want you to make money. We want your investor to be happy. We want your investor to come back and buy more properties through you and through us. So this is what we're looking at when we're looking at offers on our properties, the terms and conditions. Number one, our deals are mostly for experienced investors. If you have a new investor, please reach out to us and say, hey, we have a new investor, somebody who is doing their first investment deal, or they've done one other one, but they're still relatively new, getting their feet wet here. So call us and we will help to guide you and your buyers through that, okay? Most investors, most experienced investors are familiar with these terms. They're used to these being the terms, so it shouldn't be any surprise to them if they are an experienced investor. Would you agree that looking at these terms, most of your guys already know all this, right? Okay, so first, cash or hard money, no financing contingencies. Like we said before, most of our properties are not going to take a conventional loan because they are a distressed property. So they do have the holes in the roof or the mildew or things like that, a lot of them. Contracts are as is. When you bring us a property, or we find one, we find a seller through our mass marketing, and we bring that property into our inventory, the contract that we write with that seller is a FAR bar as is contract, just like all of you write on a regular basis in regular real estate. The difference between our contract and a regular real real estate contract is that we mark that our contract can be assignable versus there's a clause in there that says, can you assign it or do you not want to assign it? And we always choose assignable because we unfortunately cannot close on 100% of the properties that we bring in. So we wish we could, we would like to, but part of wholesaling is that you have assignable contracts. Did you have a question?
Right, so if I see a property in the WhatsApp that's a distressed property, I'm able to still assign that?
Yes. So what we are doing, well, we would assign it. So you would bring us the buyer, you would secure your commissions with us and your $5,000 bonus, and then we would take that contract if it's one of our properties. Obviously, if it's your property, you're going to be the assigner because you're holding the direct contract. But because we are holding the direct contract with the seller and stuff, which is what we do on all of our properties that we bring in, we are direct contracts. We're not daisy chaining, we're not advertising, we're not putting it out there as if it's our own when it's really not. We are only advertising the ones that we have the direct contracts with the seller. So in the case of the ones that we own, it would just be a regular real estate contract. Okay, in the case of the ones that we are going to assign, we are going to have that FAR bar as is contract that's assignable. At the time that you bring us a buyer, okay, we're going to take that contract and we're going to send you a copy of that contract with the price and the escrow redacted on it. So you're going to see all of these terms and conditions that were agreed to in that contract. And why is that important? Because when your investor buys that property from us, they are agreeing to all the terms that are in that assignable contract. So they need to see that and they need to read it, and you need to read it and understand what they're agreeing to. On there is going to be post-closing occupancies. On there is going to be details about it has to have a clear title, etc. We have different addenda that are put on there. So our contracts are as is. They're FAR bar assignable contracts. Okay, and so that's part of our terms. Showings and access to the properties is limited. So you just asked about this. Why? A lot of times when these sellers bring us their properties and we end up buying the property or we go under an assignable contract with them, the reason why they bring us the property, and this is going to get into some details here, is because of numerous reasons. Number one, it's distressed. Number two, they can't afford to pay the commissions. Number three, they can't even afford to move until they sell that property. And number four, a lot of times they need a post-closing occupancy. But also another reason is a lot of times people don't want all those showings. When you put in the MLS, you may have 20, 30 showings. You have open houses that people are doing. You've got a lot of people coming through. Now they've got to clean that property every time they've got a showing. It's a lot of work when you're showing your house. Would you agree? Yeah. So a lot of people don't want all those showings. So one of the things that we try to do is we try to limit the showings. So when we have access for our inspections, we put it out there and we say, hey, showing alert. And this is what you're going to see on the WhatsApp message board. Showing alert. We're going to allow access to this property on this day at this time. If you have a buyer, if you have an investor, try to bring them. Try to have them come see that property. And we're going to do that a couple different times on each property.
Know about that too also.
Sure. Sure.
So before it's even a showing, because with Evo, before me and him got a business, what was required is the contract, the proof of funds, and he basically just wanted to see, like on my end, before he showed the property.
We're not quite as strict as that. If you have an investor, it's just like in real estate. If you have an investor that seems to be interested, they've seen the marketing material, they like the numbers, it seems like something that's going to be of interest to them, we let them come see it. Okay. We do try to limit those showings usually to about five investors at a time, just because we don't want it to be overwhelming. We don't want a parade of people through the property. Okay, so many properties are sold sight unseen and with 0-day inspections. Now this is where the experienced investor comes in. Most of our experienced investors that we work with will look at our videos and they'll look at our photos, and they can tell by that, they can say, oh, look, there's staining on the ceiling. The property probably needs a new roof. Oh, look, there are no impact windows. It's the old metal frame windows that are in there, or jalousie windows. So they can say, okay, I know that's going to cost me this much. Okay, I see it needs a new kitchen. I know that's going to run this. I see it needs new tile. That's going to run this amount. A bathroom. They can look at it just from the videos and the photos, and they can get a good idea of what's going on with that property. They may do a drive-by, but a lot of times they don't even request a showing, and they'll just make the offer sight unseen, and we do 0-day inspections. Most of the investors that we work with can literally walk through the properties. They don't need inspectors to tell them, hey, this is what's wrong with the property. Like we talked about, most contracts are assignments. There are cases where we actually own the property, so that's going to be an exception. And then buyer pays seller closing costs. Do you remember why I said that? Why do we pay the seller closing costs?
Because they try to leave as much money as possible.
Right. The sellers can't afford, if they can't afford to move, they can't afford the money to hire a U-Haul truck, can they afford the money to close? Most of the time, no. When we do our deals, when we do our assignable signable contracts, they state in there that the buyer will also pay the standard seller closing cost. They're not paying commissions, they're not paying title fees, they're not paying for those searches or anything like that. The buyer is assuming all those fees. But keep in mind, the buyer is also getting that property at about $120,000 to $150,000 below market value. Okay. Post-closing occupancies, we said 30, 60, 90 days because they can't afford to move without selling that property. How do you get paid? I'm sure all of you are wondering, how do you guarantee us our commission, right? You're telling us this sounds great. I can make $10,000. If I bring you a property, I'm going to make an extra $5,000 off my commission if I sell one of your properties, but how do I make sure I get my fee from you? We have what they call a joint venture agreement form. At the time that we come to an agreement on a property and we are sending you that redacted contract, that FARBAR as is, and we're sending you an assignment contract, we're also going to send you this JV agreement form. And this is an agreement between us. It would be with your broker and you, and it's going to state in there that you're going to get a percentage, okay, depending on what's worked out and what's negotiated, a percentage and a flat fee, or maybe it's both, of the actual deal. Okay, so this is an example of that form. Are we including this form as an example? Okay, so you're going to be able to see that, you're going to be able to read it, you're going to be able to understand everything that it says. Okay, this is an example of our assignment of contract. Okay, and the assignment's always going to have the seller's name on there because we have the FARBAR contract with the seller. So it's going to be an agreement between the seller, between us, as in this case, our acquisition side is actually called Prime Housing. So Prime Housing actually holds the contract with the seller. Our disposition side is Home Venture Investments. We just have two LLCs that one deals with acquisition, one deals with dispositions. So you're going to see it's going to be between Prime Housing, the seller, and your investor is who's going to be listed on there for the particular property. And this is an example of one that we did. The deposit, the escrow deposit, is typically about $10,000 that we require down in escrow, okay, at the time of signing.
This example will be in the email too?
It will.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want to go through it word for word here. We're going to give you a copy of it so you guys can read it, you can understand it, you can take your time to study it. So getting paid is easy. Yay! How do we get paid, right? Okay, first, it's a lot simpler than when you're making offers in the MLS. Like we said before, if you're writing for an investor and you're trying to find a deal in the MLS, how many contracts do you think you're going to have to write? A whole lot, right? How long do you think it's going to take you? A long time, right? Because you're just writing deal after deal after deal and you're hoping one's going to get accepted. Well, you don't even have to write the contract with us. First of all, you're going to come to us with a verbal offer, okay? You're going to say, this is what my investor wants to offer. Okay, we're going to negotiate a little bit on that. Once we come to agreement on the price and the terms, we are going to put it in writing for you. So one less thing you have to do, right, to earn your money. Okay, we're going to put it in writing for you. We're going to fill out that assignment. We're going to send you that redacted contract. We're going to fill out that JV form, and we're going to send it all over to you, and everybody's going to sign it. And then the deal is locked in. We work through completing the assignment of the contract along with the joint venture form that guarantee your commissions to be paid upon a successful closing. Okay, then basically it's easy peasy from there, and you collect your $5,000 at closing. And your commissions. If you've negotiated a commission to the deal with your investor, it's your commissions plus that $5,000 bonus. Hooray! Awesome. Very, very easy. So what are your responsibilities for on-market versus off-market deals? And this is what we really want to show you because we want to show you how easy it is to get to that $5,000 bonus and your commissions and the time that it's going to take you. So we're going to do a little exercise here. MLS deals. The first thing you would do when trying to find your investor deal in the MLS is you're going to search, right? You're going to spend time searching for below market value investor-friendly properties. So what does that mean? How much does the spread have to be? What do you think? 100,000, 150,000, depends on your investor, right, and what they're looking for.
Correct.
How long do you think it's going to take you to search and find, say, 5 possible properties for them?
A long time.
6 months? Long time. So we got 6 months. Okay, so we'll go with the 6 month range, right? Then you've got to probably go show those properties to them. Say you happen to go on there and you searched like 6 hours in the MLS and you found properties and you want to show. It's going to take you at least probably an hour per property that you're showing them, right? By the time you drive there, maybe you show it for 30 minutes, probably longer, probably like an hour and a half. By the time you drive there, you show it, you talk to them, and then you leave, right? So we'll say if you're going to show them 6 properties, it's going to take you probably 6 hours for those properties, right? Then you're going to start and they're going to pick out one and you're going to write an offer. And guess what's going to happen? Declined. Then you're going to go to another option and you're going to write another offer and it's going to be declined, correct? Then you're going to go to another option and you're going to write another offer. How many times are we going to have to do that? A bunch, right? To find your investor the deal they're looking for. If you do get a deal on the MLS, Now, you've got to deal with finance contingencies and lenders if it's a regular buyer, right? On a regular buyer, you deal with that, not necessarily on an investor. But say you even just have a regular buyer, you still got to do all of this. You still got to search for a regular property, not even an investor deal. Then you've got to go out and probably show them multiple properties. So say you spend 2 or 3 hours, you find them 4 or 5 properties for a regular buyer. So you've got 3 hours there. You've got multiple properties. Say you show them 5 or 6 properties and you're back up to your 6 hours time frame there. Now you're up to like 9 hours. Okay, then you write your offer. Okay, and you may be competing against multiple offers. So you may have to write a couple offers, right? So now you got a couple more hours into it. So now we've got what? We're up to like 10 hours here. Then you've got to deal with financing contingencies and lenders. And on a regular real estate deal, you're going to be reaching out to that mortgage broker, right? So what do you think? Maybe an hour you're going to spend on the phone with that mortgage broker, maybe more, trying to work through things, right? Okay, if it's a good buyer, maybe not, but probably still an hour at least touching base throughout the entire transaction. So now we're at 11 hours. Then you're going to be expected to be at the inspections and the appraisal, correct? So now you got to go sit there. If you're lucky, your buyer will say, oh, it's fine for you just to show up at the end of the inspection to hear the report. And that's if you're lucky, correct? Okay, so you got another hour, sometimes 2 or 3 hours right there. So now we're up to about 14 hours, maybe more. And then you've got to attend the final walkthrough. By the time you drive there, you meet the person, that's another hour, right? Then you got to attend the closing. Now you got another hour. And this is me actually keeping it minimal because a lot of times it goes into a lot more than that. Sometimes like 24 hours, right? Spend over many months of driving these people around. And I mean, the time frame I gave you is if they find the property within the first time you're showing them properties. Sometimes it takes 3, 4, 5 times out showing properties before they find one they like. And sometimes it's many months of sending them properties. And that's with a regular buyer. Now we look with an investor and you still got all of this stuff on the MLS for on MLS deals. And your offers, you're competing against a lot of other offers too. On MLS deals are a lot harder, wouldn't you agree? You're spending a lot more time on those. Off market, okay, you basically have one database you go to and it's ours. You go to our database. You can look through other databases because there are a lot of different wholesalers out there. You could go to Daniel and say, hey, Daniel, what do you got, right? But we're hoping Daniel's going to put his properties on our WhatsApp message board too for everybody to see, make it easier to find. So you're going to search our off-market database. Your investor is going to look at those properties that fit his or her criteria. You're going to send them over with whatever your pricing is, whatever you've negotiated there. Okay, you're going to send them over. Your investor may say, hey, you know what? This one looks good. Let's go take a look at this. You may show one or maybe a few of the properties that we have on that database. Or they may even say, hey, sight unseen, here's an offer for you. So you may not have to even show any. Okay, so a little bit easier of way to work by doing off-market deals. So now the other thing that we want to do is we want to be a one-stop shop for everybody. We want you not only to be able to utilize our database, but we want you to utilize our investor-friendly resources. We're going to offer you things like recommendations on hard money lenders, home inspectors, contractors, roofers, electricians, plumbers, attorneys, moving companies, trash removal companies, title companies, etc. You name it. Tal and Eric have been flipping properties for years. They have done a lot of these. They've got a lot of contacts out there. And if you're looking for someone who works with investors on a regular basis, who might give them a break or a roof or electric, we've got resources that you can turn to. You just have to reach out to us and we're happy to refer them to you. So you name it, we've got it.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. I hope that it was valuable. And
Yes.
elaborate. There's a lot that we can do here, okay?
I've been to like a lot of seminars about like wholesaling.